In the heart of this vibrant city, TSAVO Delight emerges as a beacon of beauty, seamlessly blending the pulse of urban life with the tranquility of nature. This isn't just a location. It is an investment haven promising boundless returns for those who dare to invest. They say the golden rule in real estate is location, location, location. TSAVO Delight, just 3 minutes west of Nairobi's Central Business District, is strategically positioned within the prestigious Westland Sub-County, east of Lavington, south of Muthangari, west of Kilimani, and cradled by the Kishore River, a truly exclusive haven. TSAVO Delight isn't just a property, it is a lifestyle. Strategically located along Oloitoktok Road, a stone's throw from the Total petrol station at Kileleshwa Junction, this is your golden ticket to a life of convenience and opportunity. The good news is you can own a piece of Kileleshwa with 0 deposit and 0% interest rate. Imagine the joy of having your money work for you. Our flexible payment plan spans up to 5 years, making ownership a reality for everyone. We have the following typologies available for you to get started.
Eid Mubarak to all our brothers and sisters, our Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for making time to join us yet in another exciting webinar. And of course, courtesy of our Muslim brothers and sisters, we had a holiday and we're coming to you live from TSAVO HQ, from Coral Bells by TSAVO. And we are excited that today we'll be talking about property management, and more so when a project is complete, ahead of our project, our new project, which will be launching soon and is already letting. And we are so much excited to be having that conversation about property management. There are so many frequently asked questions around this topic, and because of that, we decided to have this topic in particular. And joined by me today is none other than Sam Chalo. So I'll allow him to introduce himself, and then he will pray for us and we'll get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. As he mentioned, my name is Sam Chalo. I'm the visionary in TSAVO Lifestyle, which is the property management function in TSAVO. So before we dive any deeper, we can start with a word of prayer. Yeah. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for bringing us here today. We pray that as we have this conversation, you get to guide us, give us the wisdom to be able to pass the knowledge as we are supposed to. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. 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 So, and if you're joining us, please make sure that you send in your questions, have your questions ready, because we'll be getting to answer all of those questions that you'll be having. And if you're new here, TSAVO, we are a real estate investment company, and we exist to enable you achieve financial independence through affordable, amazing apartments. And we have an end-to-end business model where we design the apartments, we sell them, and then we build. And lastly, we manage these apartments, because at the end of the day, we want you to get to financial independence. And we define financial independence as having assets that generate you sufficient monthly passive cash flows to finance your needs, your wants, and your desires. And so to just get started with our conversation today, property management comes as the last part in enabling our investor achieve financial independence, because it is from the rental income, which we want to make it as passive as possible. It is where now we get to manage this property for the investor to make financial independence a reality. So, and the reason we do that, of course, we have some guiding principles, which some call the core ideology, like we do here in TSAVO. And maybe to just start us off, because there are so many property management companies out there, there are many people who are doing property management. What makes TSAVO unique when it comes to property management?
I think when it comes to property management, first and foremost, it's not offered as a service, as a standalone service. It's part of a bigger all-in-one platform where we enable investors achieve financial independence now through our business model, where we design, build, sell, and manage. So that first and foremost just sets it aside from any property management company that you'd find out there, because we do property management for investors who've invested in the affordable, amazing apartments that we've been able to build for them. Yeah, so I think that is the key factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about property management, there are key services that you get to offer now to make, to make financial independence a reality for the investor.
Yeah.
And there are a number of core values that guide us in our interactions with both the residents and the investors.
Yes.
Maybe how do we apply that in our day-to-day in property management?
I think as TSAVO Lifestyle, we try to be as aligned as every other TSAVO right would need to be to the core values that we uphold here at TSAVO. And I think with the 4 core values of discipline, partnership, experience, and value innovation, for us, discipline is pretty much alignment to the purpose and the core ideology. So the way we offer the property management services to the investors is in a way that ensures these assets actually generate sufficient monthly passive cash flow. So every strategy, every decision, the structure that we've put in place is to enable the investor achieve financial independence. So I think that first and foremost ensures that we are aligned to that core value of alignment, which is discipline. Yeah, which is discipline. Yeah, and if you talk about partnership, I think you also have, because we get to deal with, I think everyone most of the people in the TSAVO ecosystem, and I think partnership is joint heirship. It's that place where we all share the spoils of the war. It's that place where we all get to win. Yeah, it's part of the 7 habits. And for us, we, as TSAVO Lifestyle, we deal with the investors themselves, we deal with the residents, we deal with the construction part of TSAVO, we deal with partners that enable us deliver the property management services to the investors and to the residents. So it's a really tight responsibility just to ensure every individual in that ecosystem is winning. So, and I think we strive to ensure that is happening, and not being in a situation where you're trying to serve 2 kings, but being at a situation where everybody is winning and sharing from the spoils of the war. So that's just something from the core values that we try to say uphold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so many people invest in real estate, and property management has a lot of moving parts. And some people are either privy to it, or maybe even some who just started investing in real estate, they don't know what happens there. They know you're just supposed to get the rent and all that. But there's just a lot that goes into property management. And so just to give an overview to someone who is very new to property management or to the idea of investing in real estate, what is the day-to-day of property management? What really happens on a day-to-day basis when it comes to property management, and in particular, TSAVO?
I think to try and simplify it, 2 key parts happen. I think operationally, where you have, we call it AAA management. AAA standing for the affordable, amazing apartments that you have invested in or are planning to invest in. So this is where you have your facilities management and your repairs and maintenance team. That's where it is. So from ensuring that the lifts are running well, ensuring that the pump is pumping water to the tanks, ensuring that the borehole is pumping water to the tanks, ensuring that power is flowing just correctly within the whole building and there are no faulty lines here and there, to ensuring that the guards have reported on time, the cleaners have done their job, reported on time and done their job, and further to just dealing with the residents on a one-to-one basis where there are either issues raised, and then further into that you have the resident management where we do just sorting out the resident issues, trying to ensure that if they have any issues, say within their apartment, with their neighbors, we are sort of working on it. And then also this is the collection of rent as well, which is also an integral part of this whole process. So I think in summary, that is what it all entails. Of course, you have our marketing teams as well, whose responsibility is to try and attract the ideal tenant that you're trying to look for these affordable, amazing apartments. And having I've majored in studios and one bedrooms, you'd find our ideal target market or customer or resident for these affordable, amazing apartments is the young aspirational urbanite. Yeah, so you have a whole marketing team that's trying to work on that. And then, of course, so far we've completed TSAVO Step Up is the 9th project that's complete that we're managing. And all these projects are geographically spread. So trying to also ensure that in each geographical region, we are giving the resident the experience that they deserve in a TSAVO house, so that if somebody either chooses to move to another TSAVO apartment somewhere different, they get the same experience that they could get there. So with investment, you can invest in multiple locations from where you're seated, but when it comes to the management of the property, you have to ensure that things are on ground. You can't do this online. You can't say, let's manage this property over Zoom. That's impossible. So with the geographical complexities that come with property management, those are things that now we sort of try to deal with. And when you look at the 8 projects that we have right now, they're spread in various regions from Rongai to Embakasi to Ngong Road to Kiambu Road to Risambu, which is Thika Road as well. So, and many more that are coming up that are just in those surrounding areas. Yeah.
Okay. I think you talked about the resident who now is supposed to live in these apartments. And when talking about partnership, there's the investor and there's also the resident. So now, because the resident is the one now who pays the rental income to you, and in return now the rental income is given to the investor. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritties of the numbers and how the numbers look like, so who is this resident? Because we have promised the investor that we are going to get you to financial independence through these affordable, amazing apartments. But then we are very specific on who is supposed to live in our apartments. So maybe will you tell us who lives in a TSAVO apartments?
Like I had mentioned, we call them the young aspirational urbanites. Young, of course, the typologies that we have are the studios and one bedrooms. Of course, you'd expect the younger guys to be living there. That's you and I. People between the age of, say, 18 to 35. So that's the person we'd describe as a young person. And those are the people you'd find in our apartments. Aspirational, this is somebody who sort of aspires to get to a certain level in life, is not satisfied with their current state, and is sort of trying to aspire to make an impact in the world, to achieve higher career goals, higher education goals. So that's the kind of aspiration we look for, and I think that task is easy to sort of spot out when you meet somebody, when you talk to somebody, when you interact with them. It's very easy for you to sort of spot that out, and we try to ensure the brand also tries to resonate with them. So that's the aspirational. And urbanite, somebody who sort of values modern living. There's some people who sort of find it pleasing of don't mind getting into a place that has the modern amenities. You when you see technological or modern advancement, you think that everyone wants to hop on it, but the modern living, minimalistic kind of lifestyle is the urbanite part of the young aspirational urbanite. So I think in full, that's how I can describe the young aspirational urbanite.
Yeah. Right. So previously you mentioned something to do with having a marketing team that does get, now it has to acquire these residents, and then after it has acquired the residents, now there's the retention part. So now to make this a reality for the investor, in terms of getting consistent passive monthly income. So what does TSAVO Lifestyle, the property management company for TSAVO, do to ensure that the investor, that the resident, number one, stays on board, and number two, that the investor, because that ultimately makes sure that the investor is getting the rental income. So what do you do to ensure that the residents are come and don't leave?
So to ensure the resident come, like I mentioned, we are trying to build a brand around that. So TSAVO Lifestyle, you can go follow us on our TikTok and Instagram pages for the young people. So we are trying to build a brand around that and trying to just understand their desires around housing and their living spaces. So with the kind of content that we put out there is to attract them. So the first and foremost, the design of the apartments attract the people who like modern living. So that in short comes into play, and then on top of that is just how we sort of show around and show the community that is within. So most of the time that plays the part, so we heavily on the socials, so engagement, community engagement online, not even just physically. So just trying to build that brand and perception of who we are, what we stand for, and the kind of person that we are looking for. So once these people sort of show interest in, say, an apartment that we have somewhere, they either engage with us on our social media platforms, call us, or most of them just walk and come to site with a very tech-savvy generation. Once they know the name of the apartment, they'll just go on Google Maps, search for it, and get themselves there. So most of them will interact with us online, or just see that there's a new apartment somewhere, or there's an apartment that's available to let somewhere, and then bring themselves to the ground. And when they get to the ground, they will get to interact with our property managers. We have the technical, we call them the technical CEO and the Delight CEO. So the Delight CEO is in charge of the resident management, and the technical CEO is in charge of the AAA management. So they can meet either, but mostly it's the Delight CEO who is in charge of resident management. They will show them around, show them the amenities, and try to understand if the apartment needs or what they're looking for is being met by what we are trying to offer them. So once that is done, they'll get through a process of just going through their documents. So we do vetting, so we just confirm that your documents are okay. You get to sign your tenancy agreement, and then of course now you start your tenancy. So that's that whole spectrum of trying to get a tenant or a resident into the house, the apartment that probably now an investor invested in. And once now they're in the apartment, the first or most important part about retaining them is just delivering on what you had promised. So just ensuring that if it is the facilities that they need, be it water, electricity, and security, are always there. And the process of ensuring that all these things are functional is not when it breaks is when you go and look at it. No, it's very, very proactive maintenance just to ensure the pump is running okay. It's proactive maintenance of the pump where we have partners who come and sort of check on it, ensure it's working, the lifts, ensuring that they're safe and they're operational constantly. Then just first and foremost, delivery of that, knowing that I'll get to my house, I'll get to the door, get a guard there with access control system that is working, that I'll get to the lift, it's gonna work. By the time I get to my house, there's water in my tap, and there's no electricity issues that are sort of in-house. So that first and foremost is one of the things that we try to deliver, just whatever we promised. Promised you a house that is functional, you are going to get that. So that's, I think, the biggest thing that we try to do to just ensure that we retain the residents. And then now, of course, on top of that, to take it a step further, I think with the amenities that we try to offer, they create or they solve the problem of convenience to these residents. And you'll have amenities like mini-marts, rooftarias, laundromats, and these just are in place to make the life of the resident easier. So you came home late at night, you didn't buy breakfast on your way on your way home, and it's 8 a.m. You can just go down the stairs to the mini-mart, get your breakfast, make it quick, and leave for work, rather than thinking, do I need to walk another 5 minutes, 3 minutes to go get to the shop so that I get my breakfast. So that level of convenience, it might seem something small, but it does make the living experience within the apartments much better. And then on top of that is the chill spots, which you'd find in most of the apartments. These are just common areas where residents could go and wind down during the evenings, or catch up with friends during the evening. So those spaces just ensure now the community sort of comes together. It brings people much closer to each other. So you'd find I've gone up there to sort of wind down and sort of catch up with somebody that a friend that I'll make through just meeting them up there, because we usually say the silence in the lift is a recipe for making it work. So if you guys are making noise in the lift, it might not move. So you see that awkward dead silence is sort of reduced, because now you have not only met this guy in the lift, but you've also met them at the rooftop, where there's that opportunity to sort of, who are you? Yeah.
Okay. Let me talk to the investors, especially those joining us. This is a third-part series of what happens after a project is complete, ahead of soon after completion of our newest project, TSAVO Step Up, which is now letting. And we have covered quite a lot from finance, if you've been able to complete or have not been able to complete payment, how the processes when it comes to finance. We looked at what are the legal processes also last week. And if you missed out on those two webinars, you can check them out. And today we are talking about property management, which now makes real estate investment and rental income a reality for you to be able to achieve financial independence. And we have talked at breadth about the resident and what makes it convenient for them to actually live in that apartment, so that we ensure that this investor is getting rental income, which now translates to them being able to achieve financial independence, as small milestones towards achieving that. Now, let's understand. Now, we have the resident in the apartment, and for the investor, they're interested to know, what are you guys handling for me? When there's a repair, who does it? When I need rent collected, because you had mentioned the day-to-days of property management. So, and there are frequently asked questions around that, like, who will sort out my resident? Maybe a broken door, they need repair with their shower. So maybe you could highlight what happens when, especially, there are problems with the place where the resident is actually living. Who does sort that? Is it the resident or the investor? Or even when the resident is actually leaving the house, we find that there are a few damages here and there. Who does cater for those? Yeah.
I think the full product, or the whole product that you're trying to deliver as TSAVO, is an asset that generates sufficient income passively. And for it to be passive, the investor, I think, needs to only be involved or require attention when the passive income is actually coming. So the rent should be coming in on time. Do I have a tenant or not? And that is the key part of what a passive investment actually is. Otherwise, you're no longer an investor, you're a landlord.
Yeah.
I think the word landlord might have been glorified for a long time, but you see, a landlord is quite active in the investment. So if you're an investor, your money is actually working for you. You don't need to put in any more time, effort, money to make that money work further. So you've already invested in the apartment, so that money should start working for you. When in the services that we offer as TSAVO Lifestyle to the investor, where there's resident management and AAA management, we get to ensure that the functionality of the building works. We get to ensure that in the unit that the investor has purchased, if there are any issues within the unit, they are sorted out. So say when a resident moves out, first and foremost, we ensure that the deposit that the resident had put in place sort of fixes the unit back to its initial state, to its very functional state. So you'd find the moment when a new resident comes in, the house is in a good state. Every time we hand over a unit to a resident, we ensure that it is fully functional before the handover. And then once the resident gets in, you might find things might break. Of course, the house is actually being used.
Yes.
So, and since the house was handed over, or the apartment was handed over in a functional way, what we try to ensure is, if we've communicated to the resident, if anything breaks here since this apartment works, now it's the cost is up to you. Some of the things, especially when an apartment is new, nobody has ever used it, nobody has flushed those toilets, nobody has opened those taps as much as a person using it would. We usually have just a period of ensuring that everything is functional fully. Then now after that, the resident sort of caters for the repairs, and then once they leave, everything is returned back to a fully functional unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see a question here. What's the letting process for the investors? And now, case in point being TSAVO Step Up. Then now the project is now complete.
Yeah.
And investors are like, okay, so these all these things that you do in property management, what is the process for me to actually get there? Because now, if you missed on our last webinar, you have to have completed the purchase price for you to actually receive the ownership documents, and also to receive the rental income. So now, what is the process like? Now, I've as an investor, I have finished paying the purchase price.
Yeah.
So now, what is the next step for me to now begin to earn rental income?
Yeah. So once you've completed your investments, or your investment installments, or if you've purchased in cash, what happens is our finance team will be able to sort of send to you either your last statement or a handoff that will go now to our property management team. We call it TSAVO Cares, the TSAVO Cares team that will now introduce you to TSAVO Lifestyle and the services that are offered, and what the step-by-step looks like. And once that handover from our finance team to TSAVO Cares happens, you'll be introduced to the services like I've sort of gone through them, all of them, and what we do. And then you would be asked to sign a property management agreement. Yeah, so ideally the only thing an investor needs to do is to wait for that email, or just request for TSAVO Cares to reach out to them regarding the property management agreement. But ideally, all the investors who sort of completed payment should already have started being communicated to by this point in time. Yeah.
Okay. So there's the question about being able to streamline, the processes, because I understand that's a lot, like you're handling as a property management team, from dealing with the investors, also dealing with the residents, and then the residents, there are all these things that need to be sorted out. Now, I understand that you have employed technology in your day-to-day. So, how has technology really helped you to ensure that even as you make rental income a reality, the passiveness of the investment a reality for the investor? What is the role of technology in ensuring that there is efficiency in whatever that you guys are doing?
I think technology that is used in the real estate sector is referred to as prop tech. And our prop tech stack is quite diverse, from the construction side to the management side of the business. And when it comes to TSAVO Lifestyle, we've employed quite a lot of that. And I think our approach mainly has been resident first, because once we sort out the resident, the rental income can start flowing. So we've really been having a resident first approach in the prop tech that we're acquiring. So we will have our CRMs, our let me call them asset management system that just ensures that everything, the maintenance is done on time, and just to ensure that the people on the ground have access to the information relevant to the resident. And when the resident sort of raises a ticket, it's sort of being tracked on time, and the SLA is being adhered to by the people who are supposed to answer and respond to the resident. So mainly it has been resident facing, but I think for this year as well, we are trying out focus on making it better for the investor as well, so that they can, because for them it's more financial, so that they can be able to see how much of my unit's been able to get me passively so far this year, so that is this investment actually meeting my investment goals that I had, and can this investment now take me further? So being able to get to levels where we are enabling the investor calculate their financial independence number, and how much of that is being sorted by TSAVO is now places that we are sort of working towards getting to. Yeah.
Okay. This might come off as an interesting question, but I understand that in your day-to-day, there are so many challenges that you come across, and your team is always working, it is working day and night to ensure that all these challenges are being sorted out, things that never get to the investor. So maybe just for the investors to understand, like, what really happens on ground. What are some of the challenges that you actually go through on a day-to-day basis that the investor never gets to see, so that in appreciating even the value that they get from the lifestyle team, they really understand it's a lot of pain? Because it's very easy to maybe say, I just need the money. It is about the money. I get my rental income, but I don't want to know what really happens behind the scenes. So maybe you can highlight to us maybe some of the challenges that you guys get to face on a day-to-day basis, because I understand it's a lot. It's a lot. So that at least even as the investor is sending the email, making the inquiries, they have an understanding of what really happens behind the scenes.
I don't know if I can be able to cover everything that sort of goes behind the scenes, but I think the challenges are there, as there are in sort of any other business. But what we get to face, I think, most of the things, the technical ones are the hardest. Yeah, the technical ones are the hardest. So, say for example, you have a pump failure. The maintenance, yes, was done, but for some reason the motor within the pump is not operational, or there was a fluctuation in power that caused the motor to fail. So you have to come pull out the pump, which is 400, 300 meters deep, work overnight to ensure you return it, or repair it, or return the motor, or during that period that you're trying to fix it, ensure that you have water bowsers that are coming in to just ensure consistent water flow for the resident. And once it's fixed, you just observe it to ensure that it's working. So those nitty-gritties, because you see, when things are working, people don't know what's happening in the background. But once I open my tap and there's no water, as much as I might have been a satisfied tenant or resident for a long time, I had just woken up, gone to the washroom and I'm flushing my toilet. It's not flushing.
Not working.
It's not flushing.
I don't remember the days that I've had water.
You don't remember that friend you met. You don't remember how good the guard has been to you. You don't remember, like, you just want your toilet to flush. Yeah. So dealing now with those frustrations that comes with technical failures, which we try as much to be proactive to eliminate or reduce, is one of the biggest challenges, because sometimes things might get out of hand and you pretty much only have time you only have the time to wait for this thing to be sorted. Yeah. So do the residents have enough patience to wait for that thing to be sorted? So those are the biggest challenges. So it's your pump not working, it's the sewer not working. You'd find the water is there, but you've asked residents you're not going to use the water because our sewer is either clogged up. So those are the challenge. Some just a painted picture of how the challenges are. Yeah.
It sounds like a very emotional job to deal with. You need
both
to have
technical and emotional.
You need to have like the agility to be able to sort out, emotionally you're sound and all that.
Exactly.
So I think we have a few questions, because I think we're coming to a close of our webinar.
Okay.
There's Evans asking, he had asked what is the letting process for the investors. I see another question here. Is there a guarantee of having a tenant?
We don't really guarantee getting a tenant. What we guarantee is rent by the 10th if you have a tenant in the house. And what we try to do or to ensure is our occupancy rates are high. Yeah, and I think we've been able to maintain between 98-96% occupancy rates for all of our projects across the board, about 2,000 plus units. So this just means for the 98% of the investors that we have been guaranteed, quote unquote, or have had consistent rental income for all that period. So, and we try, just because we understand that for us an empty house or an empty apartment is an empty pocket. Yeah. So we try as hard to ensure that now those that are vacant are sort of occupied as fast as possible. If a house gets vacant, we just try to ensure that the faster we need to let it as fast as possible. Yeah, because it's not only, if once that house is occupied, it's not only income for the investor, but for us as well. Yeah.
And I also think you can't, the market will need to do, I think there's something in economics called market equilibrium.
Yes.
Where now if you guarantee at one point, and the tenants are not there, lazima wajilete.
Exactly.
You can't force people to live in their apartments. So we have another question here. What happens when my apartment doesn't have a tenant? Mm-hmm. Will I still get rent on the 10th? The answer is you can maybe answer.
I think that's tied to the guarantee question. Because now this assumes we are guaranteeing rental income. Mm. So you won't get your rent on the 10th if you do not have a tenant in the house.
All right. Yeah. So there's another question here. What happens when the project is complete and I haven't finished paying?
So I think with our efforts to try and make real estate investments affordable, we've gone to lengths to just make it affordable and accessible to many Kenyans out there. So what we've been able to do is make it zero interest. Yeah. For as long as you might be paying for the apartments or making your installments for the apartments, be it 60 months, be it 30 months, at the end of that installment period, you will get to make the total investment will be zero interest. Yeah, and the way we ensure or we can make that happen is by ensuring that you only get possession or you get possession of that house or that apartment once you've completed payments for. So once you've completed construction, say 2 years down the line, and you had a 4-year payment plan. Once you've completed construction, what happens next is if that apartment gets a tenant, gets a resident, what we will do is that rental income will now go to TSAVO. Yeah, that would sort of act as the interest, but now it won't be applied to you. So, so that you can start earning once you've fully paid for the apartment. Yeah, you can start earning once you've fully paid for the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that question is well answered and you're satisfied. So there's a question here. Which floors are favorite for residents in your experience?
Yeah, of course, the top floors. Residents love the views and all of that, but with the experience they get in our affordable, amazing apartments, eventually all units get fully occupied. Yeah.
I also think people are different. People have different, opinions when it comes to living.
Yes.
Like I'm the kind of person who is very much afraid of heights.
Of course.
So if I want to live, I can't live beyond fourth floor.
Yes.
Because I'm more comfortable living second floor, first floor, third floor. So and now the demand for the apartments is quite high.
Yeah.
So there's another question here by Sarah Nguta. If you do not have a tenant for my apartment, can I contract another property management company?
So what happens when you're doing property management for you is we get into a property management agreement. You can get an agent to get a resident for you in that house, but if you're getting the full property management services from that company, it's also allowed, but the challenges that come with that is you'd find that property management company is not on ground, will not be able to deliver that full service to the resident from the, like I mentioned, they might do the resident management, but also since we are doing the AAA management, there is the registration of biometrics, there is the issuance of garbage stuff, there's all those services and communications that need to happen for the residents who are in the building that might have a sort of breakdown because now we will be communicating to you. So, and if you're communicating to your resident and offering those services, ideally you're doing property management for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's much advisable to do it through us, but if you find it much more convenient for you to do it with another company, that's also allowed. There are no limits to that.
Because I'm trying to imagine my tap is broken.
Yes.
And I just need my property, the resident, as a resident,
Yeah.
I'm told that it's it's your property management agent who's supposed to sort you out.
Exactly.
Na ofisi zao wameshafunga.
Yeah.
They are nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So just to ease the stress from the resident, it's advisable to, to have your property managed by TSAVO Lifestyle.
Yeah.
It becomes easier. It makes everything easy to do. I'm irrelevant because you want it to be as passive as possible, not to be stressed about what is happening. So now, if we are now to look at the numbers, because I see a question here, what percentage of the rent is charged for the amenities? And I believe that is service charge.
Yes.
Maybe we can get to look at the numbers in terms of, and now case in point, our newest project, TSAVO Step Up.
Yeah.
So what are the costs involved for the investor when it comes to property management?
Yeah. So I think for you to get the property management service, and like I mentioned, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to just ensure that that rental income gets to you as in the most passive way as possible. Of course, to ensure that happens, to ensure all these things that are happening behind the scenes are happening, there's a cost tied to that. So we have the service charge and we have the property management fee if we are managing your unit. So the service charge is paid by all investors, by all the apartment owners. And the service charge is now, case in point for TSAVO Step Up, the service charge is 2,000 shillings per unit. 2,000 shillings per unit. And what the service charge sort of caters for is first and foremost everything common area related. of course, you have your apartment and you have everything within the apartment, but now everything that is outside that specific unit that you have purchased. So from the corridor outside it, to the stairs that lead to that house, to the lift that leads to that house, to the main gate and the guards that are in that gate. So just ensuring that the guards are present and offering quality service, to ensure that the electricity that ensures the lift is operational is paid for, to ensure that the corridors that I'm working on are well lit and the light is there when it's needed, to ensure that those corridors are cleaned, consistently, to ensure that the flowers are green, to ensure that the chill spot or the rooftop areas that I'm going to sort of wind down in the evening is clean. That's what the service charge ideally goes to do. So the service charge maintains the look and feel of the building, and also the feel in terms of the service offered by the partners that we work with, the cleaners and the security companies. So there is the service charge, and then we have the property management fee, which is 7% of the rental income after the service charge. So once you remove the service charge of 2,000, there's a property management fee of 7%, which is, and now say if you have your studio in TSAVO Step Up, which is 15,000 shillings for the rent that you're charging, you'd remove your service charge of 2,000, and then for the 13,000 that's left, you charge a 7% management fee, which now ensures that we get your tenant consistently. The tenant gets to pay the rent on time, and you will get your rent by the 10th of every month. And then if the tenant has any issues, we are dealing with them. If everything, communications to the tenants, everything regarding repairs to the unit, to the tenants, we now sort of sort that out. So this cost goes to ensure that now also when the tenant pays, the money also gets to you. So the finance team that's there, the resident experience team that's there, and also the software that we use and all of that, that's what the property management fee sort of goes to do. And when you look at now the studio, ideally the property management fee there is 910 shillings. To just ensure that the resident is sorted in case they have an issue, to ensure that they are paying their rent on time, you are receiving your rent on time. So that's what. So, and of course now there is VAT on top of that fee since it's a service. So in total, you'd ideally the property management fee plus VAT is about 1050 for the studio. That goes for 15,000. So you'd have your 2,000 service charge, your 1050 management fee that includes VAT. You'd be left with about 11,900, just closer to 12,000. So that is the passive rental income that you get from now TSAVO that hits your bank, and of course we try as much to advise our investors to take it back and compound it, and use it to now invest in another apartment, so that you compound all of this. Let the active income that you're earning right now sustain you. Ensure that this passive income is now sort of working further for you.
And talking about which, what Sam is talking about, the whole story. There's a whole story that we keep on repeating here about Pablo and Bruno, being able to compound your investment. As you're earning rental income from this unit, you don't eat your eggs. You let them hatch. So that tomorrow now you have more chicken which are able to lay you more eggs.
Exactly.
There's a particular, I can't remember who it was. There's an old man who told me, usikule watoto wako. So that now that money goes back, and you keep reinvesting. And there's a question here by where is this question? By Gelad. Will I pay service charge and property management fee if my apartment is unoccupied yet?
So service charge is payable whether you have a tenant or not. And if you're doing the management of that unit for you, what we try to do is to recover that once we get a new tenant for the house. So you don't really need to sort of get money out of your pocket to pay for that service charge. And like I mentioned, we try to ensure that your unit gets a tenant as fast as possible once it's vacant. Yeah.
Okay. So there's also another question. Is the monthly rental income of 7% paid each month to KRA? Maybe the question is who pays it?
Yeah. The payment for MRI is an obligation that is to the investor, the owner of the house. But I think more and more laws are coming into place to sort of ensure KRA collects faster, now probably through us as the property management company. But that is yet to sort of be rolled out. But probably soon that might be the obligation of the property management company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there's, I don't know, what is the staircase? There's a question here by Simon Masharia. What is the staircase like rooftops used for?
I think he's talking about the chill spots
the
that
chill
you
spots,
have.
the cascading gardens.
Exactly, exactly. I think that those staircase-like rooftops, they're the cascading gardens that you have for TSAVO Step Up. They are the Step Up terraces. Yeah, the Step Up terraces within TSAVO Step Up are just small common areas where neighbors could go and wind down during the evenings, during the afternoons, when they've just had a busy day at work. So they're just community spaces where people could go interact with each other or just catch a breath, because you'd find with the young aspirational urbanites, quite a number of them also work from home, so they need a space to just go and catch a breath. And that's what they're sort of used for. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In our previous webinars, we have had discussions and we have talked about stage costs when it comes to property, to an investor being able to own the apartment. And there's the stage one cost, which now goes towards sorting out legal fees. There's the stage two, which goes out to sorting out the nitty-gritties of the apartment itself to ensure that it is functional. And then there's this last part, which is the stage three cost, which involves the stamp duty, and then there are costs that enable you for the time being to be able to sort out the investor, maybe before the unit is actually fully occupied. The whole apartment is being fully occupied. So what does that look like for the investor?
I may not have the total correct figures for this at the moment, but ideally these fees sort of are deposits, let me call them that. Of course, in stage three, you have your stamp duty, that is the ownership. Once you've completed payment, that's when you sort of get into that, and then this other fee goes if that deposits, especially for service charge as well. I don't have the correct numbers right now, so I wouldn't like to communicate.
Okay. So we have come to the end of our webinar tonight, and maybe for the investors who have wanted to get started, and more specifically, whether our existing investors who have already completed their payments in other projects, or those who are actually finishing up their purchase price. So maybe your last words to them, and what do you have, what are you doing, and what maybe are the rental prices for TSAVO Step Up, in case they want to refer their loved ones or their friends, so that they can be part of that.
I think we're all working very hard to let me say, earn a living, put food on the table, and for most of us, or luckily for some of us, it has gotten past just putting food on the table and gotten to a place where we have enough money to ensure it can work for us. So I think what I'd say is right now there's something that you're probably doing actively that earns you enough to put some of it aside and invest it or make it work for you. I think what I'd say is just focus on that. Do more and more of that. Be more disciplined and earn more from that, and put much more now into investment, passive investment, not really active investment, because once you start having active investments, you sort of eat the time or the investment that you make into making the active income that you do right now. So keep earning more and more of that, and bring or invest your money to assets that now will work for you passively. And I think the passiveness, like we've been talking about, is achieved through property management. So just try as much as you can to ensure that it is also, once the asset construction has been done, you get property management services, because now you can continue focusing on your active income, invest in more and more. So by the time you're sort of ready to retire, you have enough rental income that is passive. You can still go and pursue your purpose or what makes you happy. For those who like to travel around the world, yeah, you can finish everything, and at the end of the month, something else will come. Yeah, so that's for the investors. And for the residents, I think the apartment is open for residency. We are ready for residency. We already have about 18 residents who've already paid for the apartments. The pipeline is huge. We hope you guys are going to come and sort of become the pioneers for the residential community that is going to sprout in SAVO Step Up. So we have studios on bedrooms, superior studios and convertible on bedrooms. The studios go for 15,000, the superior studios 18, and the convertible on bedrooms for 21,000. Come and just interact with other young aspirational urbanites, which will sort of catapult you. I think your time in SAVO might be a pivotal point for you, your career, your entrepreneurship journey, and everything that you're trying to do, everything that you aspire to do. So yeah, karibu SAVO. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sam, for making time to really join us tonight. And with that, we've come to the end of our webinar today. In case you have questions, please leave the questions, or you can reach out to our team. And if you're an investor and you'd like to get started with property management here at SAVO, you can write to us at mypartner@savo.ke, and there's a banner that is showing on the screen. You can call that number and we'll be in touch with you. Also, if you're planning to finish up on your payments, because as soon as you're done clearing your payments, you begin to receive your rental income. So just to ensure that you are getting your rent, kimbia, make, if you need, whatever you need to do to ensure that you've completed your purchase price, please do. And then also be sure to subscribe to our site updates. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. we send site updates, just progress reports telling you what is happening on site, which floors have been constructed, what really we've been doing with the money that you put towards your investment. So if you haven't subscribed, a link is going to be shared. And also, if you haven't followed us across all our social media platforms, we have engaging content, especially for you to enable you get to financial independence. Interact with us and let's grow on this journey to financial independence. Thank you for joining us. My name is MC Benmigu, the Classic Man, fair partner here in SAVO. Have a blessed night and see you at the top.
In the heart of this vibrant city, TSAVO Delight emerges as a beacon of beauty, seamlessly blending the pulse of urban life with the tranquility of nature. This isn't just a location. It is an investment haven promising boundless returns for those who dare to invest. They say the golden rule in real estate is location, location, location. TSAVO Delight, just 3 minutes west of Nairobi's Central Business District, is strategically positioned within the prestigious Westland Sub-County, east of Lavington, south of Muthangari, west of Kilimani, and cradled by the Kishore River, a truly exclusive haven. TSAVO Delight isn't just a property, it is a lifestyle. Strategically located along Oloitoktok Road, a stone's throw from the Total petrol station at Kileleshwa Junction, this is your golden ticket to a life of convenience and opportunity. The good news is you can own a piece of Kileleshwa with zero deposit and 0% interest rate. Imagine the joy of having your money work for you. Our flexible payment plan spans up to 5 years, making ownership a reality for everyone. We have the following typologies available for you to get started. Studios at 3.2 million Kenyan shillings, superior studios at 3.8 million Kenyan shillings, 1 bedroom at 4.7 million Kenyan shillings, 2 bedroom at 7.6 million Kenyan shillings. What are you waiting for? Log on to www.tsavo.ke now, book your unit and secure your financial future. TSAVO.